Just some quick introductions before we get started. So I'm Alex Kupis. I'm the Senior Programmes Officer at Leeds Community Foundation. I'll pass along to Jess. He's also one of my colleagues.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess Johnson. I'm Communications Officer at Leeds Community Foundation.
Thanks, Jess. Jason.
Morning everyone, I'm Jason, Head of 100% Digital Leeds in Leeds City Council. I'm going to turn my camera and sound off in a minute, and I'm going to be the one that's fielding any questions in the chat.
Thanks, Jason. And then Amy.
Turn to mute. Morning everyone, my name is Amy Hearn and I'm a Digital Inclusion Manager at 100% Digital Leeds.
Thank you. Right, we'll get started. So firstly, it will be a little bit about the foundation itself. So we are the region's largest independent funder, if you've not heard of us before. We work with donors and other funders to distribute grants to community organisations across Leeds and Bradford to create fairer cities. So in 2023, as you can see on the side there, we distributed 3.4 million, and that equated to 364 grants to 235 organisations. So moving on swiftly to the criteria for this round, this is a brief run through of what the criteria is and what it will focus on, but please do read the full criteria document that's online before applying. So the grants are up to £10,000 for up to a year of activity. All activities need to be based in Leeds, the City Council area specifically. The grants are open and the deadline is on the 11th of July at 12 noon. So there's ample time for you to apply if you'd like to. The fund is supporting organisations developing and delivering sustainable digital inclusion activities and interventions with individuals and communities. The aim is to ensure that people have the skills, the support, the equipment to feel able to be active online now and obviously going forward in the future. The types of activities that can be funded, test and learn style of activities, the development of existing activities, if you're already kind of working in this space, equipment, staff capacity and training. But obviously there's an extensive list online on the criteria as mentioned. Next slide, please, Jess. Thank you. Perfect. So just a bit about the roles of the Foundation and 100% Digital Leeds within this programme. So we've partnered with 100% Digital Leeds to support on this. So the Foundation is responsible for the management and the oversight of the whole funding programme. So that's the application process, the assessments, the panel itself, and we will also communicate the final decisions from the panel. 100% Digital Leeds is there to kind of offer support and guidance on kind of writing your application, advising about project ideas, and also supporting successful applicants during the project timeframe. So a slightly different roles between the two of us, but it was just to make you aware, just because it is slightly different to some programs that we have run before, if you've applied with us, before that. Thank you. And then lastly, the application process on our side. So as I've mentioned, all the information on how to apply, as well as, the criteria document, the application form, everything is on our website. So please do read it really carefully. There's a lot on there. So please, if you have any questions, do email us, call us, let us know if you're having any trouble. You can save your application form as a draft, so you can continue, come back to it, complete it when you're ready. There is a section about supporting documents, such as your governance documents, accounts, safeguarding. Please do upload them if you know that you haven't uploaded them to us before, or if it's over a year since you have done, because we'll need to check those as part of our due diligence process during the assessments. Like I said, if you do have any problems with kind of the process around that, please do let us know, but also please do discuss your project ideas. If you're not sure with 100% Digital Leeds, they're there to support you on this process and during your applications. Once your application has been submitted, you'll receive an email acknowledging that we've received the submission of it, and then it will be assessed by a member of the foundation team. If eligible and everything's kind of all in order, your application will be submitted to the awards panel for further consideration. We recruit an independent panel for all of our panels, So this will be the same process as that, and to ensure all decisions are fair and diverse. The decisions as well will also be circulated in September. So there's a little bit of time between the application process up until final decisions are made. And now I'll hand over to Amy.
Thank you. So as Alex mentioned, 100% Digital Leeds is playing a supporting role with this grant. So I'm going to explain a little bit about who we are, what we do, and how we'll be able to support you. So 100% Digital Leeds is a team within Leeds City Council, and we work with all sorts of different partners, organisations from across all sectors who are working within in communities who are more likely to be digitally excluded. We partner with those organisations because they have the skills, knowledge, understanding of how the particular community that they support experiences digital exclusion, and the correct ways to support that improved digital inclusion. And our role is facilitative, so helping organisations like yourselves access the tools, resources, capacity, skills, etc., for you to be able to embed digital inclusion into your practice. So we are interested in supporting digital inclusion to ensure that everybody in Leeds is able to make an informed choice when it comes to whether they would like to use digital tools and services, in particular on a certain day, a different tool, the same sort of choice that I'm able to make as to whether to do something digitally or face-to-face or whatever. Because of the way that the world is becoming more digital, we know that there's people that don't have digital skills, confidence in their ability to do digital stuff, the access to the right equipment and connectivity, access to online safety support so they feel safe, able to use tools and resources, and have the understanding of how digital might benefit them. People that don't have that and not having the same ability to have choice in the way that they access different tools and different things that can help make their lives easier. So in order to allow everybody to make an informed choice, we would like to support everybody to remove those barriers that they may face so that they can understand how digital might be relevant to them, how it might help make their life easier, that they are able to get the support that they need to be able to feel confident, that they have the skills, that they can be safe online, that they have got access to the right digital equipment and connectivity, and yeah, that they're motivated to be able to understand why digital is going to work for them. Next slide, please. So in terms of digital inclusion programs, thinking about how we partner with those different organisations that are sort of working out in the community that really understand the needs of those individual people in communities that are more likely to be digitally excluded. We work with those partners as well to embed that support within their services that they offer, because we know that for people who are the furthest away from being digitally included, those people that are really lacking in confidence, who might feel anxious or stressed around the idea of digital in general, that need support in knowing how they as an individual person might benefit from digital and why they should sort of take that leap to start developing their digital skills and things. The organisations that are already based in the community, that know those individuals and those individuals know them, that are trusted places and spaces within the community, places that people that are more likely to be digitally excluded already go and access, where they already get different kinds of non-digital support from people that they know and trust, from people who understand their situation and have the specialist skills to be able to support them in a holistic sense, and be able to bring digital into that in a way that is person-centered, really focused on how digital enablement can support the individual to do what they would like to do. All of that support is best offered by the community organisations and different teams that already support those people. So good digital inclusion for us looks like digital programs, digital support that fits into your program, that is tailored to meet the specific needs of your communities, because you see those people every day coming into your services. You understand better than we do how those individuals in particular might experience digital exclusion and the right way to be able to support digital inclusion. So work that's embedded, that's tailored, that's person-centered, that's utilising digital as an enabler for whatever is important for the individuals. And we're also looking to support things that are likely to become sustainable as well. So embedded within your programming and within your offer in a way that helps you to meet your aims and objectives as an organisation. So when digital inclusion's done right, it should benefit the organisation as much as the individual, because it's helping those individuals to be more independent, to be able to access, more support from other places, freeing up some of your time to be able to support some of those maybe more vulnerable people or more digitally excluded people going forward. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the kinds of initiatives that we are looking to fund are sort of created in response to particular needs that you've identified, that are bespoke to meet the needs of the people and communities that you support, that are embedded within that existing support. So ideally, the initiatives that you might want to get this funding for would be embedded within your services, so that you're sort of not advertising, looking for learners to come to you. You're already approaching the people that you're accessing at the moment, and that support is tailored to meet their particular needs. Recognising that everybody has got a role to play in removing barriers, but everybody doesn't have the same role necessarily. So what that means is that, we talked about the barriers to digital inclusion of providing equipment and connectivity, of keeping people safe online, making sure that people are motivated to develop their digital skills, offering skill support. You as an individual organisation don't need to do all of that. You can work with other people. You within your organisation don't have to have one person that's sort of the digital person. We'd like to see, everybody in your organisation playing some of those different roles. And part of the support that we at 100% Digital Leeds can offer is helping you understand what that looks like and how that can be beneficial within your organisation. So applications that build upon your existing strengths and assets. So thinking about what you already do, thinking about where you've already seen a gap and how digital inclusion can fit within your offer in a way that sort of complements it and supports it. Initiatives that are utilising those trusted relationships. So as I mentioned, we know that people that are really digitally excluded can be shy of admitting that. Having conversations about people's digital exclusion can be quite intimidating for people. And, sort of sharing, some of the personal things that are going on in their lives. And those kinds of conversations are best placed with people that already have built up a trusted relationship with those individuals. Working in partnership to shared priorities. So we'll welcome, bids that involve utilising partnerships. And part of the role of support that we can offer as well is maybe helping you to link up with different partners and access some of the existing partnerships already happening in the city around digital inclusion. So, for example, we've got an older people's digital inclusion network and a digital inclusion network for organisations supporting people with learning disabilities and autistic people as well. So tagging you into some of those existing opportunities to share resource, share learning, etc. Initiatives that are working towards sustainable long-term solutions. So we understand capacity is a massive issue. You as an organisation, your existing staff and volunteers may not have the digital skills, confidence themselves to be able to support others at this point. So we're not asking that it's necessarily something that if there was no more funding offered tomorrow, that it would just be able to continue, your initiative would be able to continue as it is with no further support. But thinking about how you might get to sustainable and long-term solutions with this fund being a starting point is the kind of thing that we're looking for. And then finally, yeah, using that person-centered holistic approach, and would be really keen to receive applications from organisations that use that person-centered holistic approach as standard across your service. Thank you. So the kind of support that we can offer, as Alex clarified, we've got a different, 100% Digital Leeds and Leeds Community Foundation have got quite different and distinct roles within this process. So anything that's to do with the sort of practicalities of applying to the fund, or eligibility or criteria or anything like that, is absolutely for to contact the foundation. For 100% Digital Leeds, we can help you to develop your ideas. So we work with hundreds of different organisations across the city, all of whom are supporting digital inclusion in different ways that are tailored to meet the needs of their communities. So we are aware of lots of different ways of doing things, lots of different ways you can approach things, lots of other resource that isn't this fund that you can tap into as well, in terms of volunteer capacity or skill support or whatever that might be. So we'd be really keen to share our learning and our knowledge with you, and make sure that your application, that your idea is as well defined and supported as it can be, and helping you think about your sustainability as well, and what you might use the funding for, where you might be able to access other resource to support that. Helping to link you in with partners. So as I just mentioned, we've got formal networks, we've got informal networks. We've also got lots of different partners who might be working with the same sort of community of interest as you, or working in the same geographical place as you, or working with to the same aims and objectives as you, or with a similar idea. And we can link you up to share learning, hear from them, the sort of positives and negatives of certain ways of doing things, or stop you from feeling you have to reinvent the wheel, basically, on a city level, on a regional level, and on a national level where that is appropriate as well. And then finally, helping you to embed that digital inclusion across your service. So as we mentioned before, looking at, rather than looking at digital inclusion support as something that's sort of siloed or to one side in your organisation, thinking about those different roles needed to support digital inclusion. How are you going to encourage the service users or members that you have that will benefit from digital inclusion support? How are you going to support them to understand that they can develop their skills and understand some of the different ways that they might benefit from developing their digital skills and things like that? That's the kind of thing that we can support with our digital inclusion awareness workshops and with conversations. So the way that we'll practically offer that support, if you could just go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So we've got 5 members of the team that are set aside time to be able to support organisations with that application process, to develop the applications. If you'd like to access that support, the ideal way to do that for us would be if you could visit our website. You can see the link on the screen, digitalinclusionleeds.com/contact, and fill in a contact form. That will come through to us, and then we'll decide which member of staff is best placed to be able to support you. And that might be best placed because they're already working with organisations that support a similar service user group to you. It might be people within the team that really understand the sort of needs of your particular members. So based on their experience, essentially. There's, I think, about a month of time before, month to 5 weeks before the grant closes. So we'd be really keen for any organisations that would like that support to get in touch with us sooner rather than later, so that we can ensure that we've got the capacity to support everybody. You know, we can have more than one conversation with you as well. So we'd much rather have a quick chat when you're at the very beginning ideas phase and help you to sort of shape and define some of that, and then leave you to write some of the bid, and then meet up with you again later for a sort of, you know, any last minute support or anything like that. In previous years, we have had few requests at the start of the application period, and then a real flurry in the last sort of week or so, which has meant that, you know, we've struggled with our capacity to be able to support people and organisations to the extent that we would like, just because it's a time thing, really. So the sooner that you can get that request into us, the sooner we can block out that time and make sure that we've got the capacity to help you as much as we would like to. That's it from me. Thank you very much.
Sorry, thanks, Amy. So yeah, we'll move now on to the Q&A part. So if anyone does have a question, if you want to either unmute or yeah, you can pop your hand up.
Hello.
Hi, Martin. Hi.
Can you show us the slide with the with what can and can't be included again? The what can be funded, what can't be funded.
Yeah, no problem. Just give us a second. Jess is just going to sort that out. Yeah. Is this the slide that you were looking for, Martin?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's so you would fund equipment.
Yes, we would. Obviously, I think there'll be some guidance around kind of what exactly that will look like, and you can speak to 100% Digital as well as to what kind of equipment you would need, and see if it fits within the aims of this fund.
And the sort of aim is for sustainable. Is that part of it? Is that one of the keywords?
Sorry, that just cut out then, Martin. What did you say?
Is yeah, sustainable. So the sustainable is the sort of keyword. So it's specified. So it's short-term things with a defined end are not favoured, but things with sort of undefined longer-term impact.
Yeah. So as Amy said, it's kind of about embedding this kind of work within your organisation for that longer term kind of effectiveness. So shorter term, yeah, projects, like you said, probably wouldn't be favoured as much. It's more about that, yeah, that longer term aim and sustainability around kind of digital inclusion for individuals or communities that you support.
So as regards embedding it in the organisation, would training within the organisation be something? Is that upskilling? Is that something
Yeah,
that might be covered?
I think that could be part of it. I'm sure Amy or Jason could let me know if it's not right, but I think, yeah, upskilling your staff is part of it. Yeah.
Do you want me to just jump in real quick,
That'd
Alex?
be great. Yeah.
So as long as it, with equipment and upskilling, as long as it is to support digital inclusion for communities, then absolutely. So we have had applications in the past for equipment that's been for staff use to support your organisation to sort of, you know, and systems and stuff like that. That's not something that we can support. If it's equipment that is digital equipment for, you know, I don't know, allowing for tablets to be used in different skills sessions, or for you know, the development of a digital room or something like that, as long as it's used for supporting people in the community to develop their skills, digital skills, confidence, etc., and that's absolutely fine. Same with staff upskilling. If that upskilling is going to lead to the outcomes of your staff being able to deliver sessions or better support digital inclusion or whatever, you know, in terms of the outcomes, we'll be looking to see how have the individuals how have community members benefited. So okay. I think simply we're going to train some of our staff. That's not an outcome for us necessarily.
Yeah.
what are they
That's
going to
to
do
show
with that training?
the impact on the community.
Yes. So if it's we're gonna train staff and volunteers to be able to deliver skill sessions, then they're going to deliver skill sessions, and as a result, people in the community will have been supported with their skills. Then the training absolutely fits.
Thank you.
Does that clarify? Okay.
Helpful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Alyssa, you've got your hand up.
Hiya. So just obviously you said that it was September when people have been notified, and there was some flexibility about when it could start. What is that flexibility? And actually, if you didn't start till, I don't know, October, is it 12 months from October? Is that how it works?
Yes, usually that is the case. So yeah, it will depend on how quickly, if you are successful, how quickly you get your funding agreements back, and if there's any conditions before the payment. So there's a 6-week period normally that we allow for groups to kind of get everything organized if you need to, as I said, meet conditions and stuff like that as well. And then it should be 12 months or up to, depending on how long your project is. It'll be when you started it. Yeah, be 12 months from then. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Kathleen?
Hi, sorry, I joined late, so you might have done this. I work as a quality improvement clinician at Leeds Teaching Hospitals, and I'm looking at how we promote accessible information at our front door. So we wanted to look at creating kind of digital interactive screens in the ED waiting areas that could help with wayfinding, accessible information. Is that something this project would maybe look at, or this might not be the place to discuss a specific project?
I personally am not too sure about that one. Amy, I was wondering if you would know. Sorry.
So we'd be happy to have a conversation. In fact, we're really keen to have a conversation outside of this meeting. Anyway, because if this fund isn't the right one, then we can look at other options, and how we can more broadly support what you're trying to do. From the very little that you said, I would say this fund isn't the right one for what you're looking for, given that you're not actually upskilling individuals, or after people have used those screens, then they're not going to be better prepared to be able to use other digital tools and services, I think. But correct, do say if that's not the case. But we would be, as I said, we'd be keen to talk to you outside of this meeting a little bit more about what you're trying to do. My initial thoughts would be, I don't think this is the right fit. Everything that what we're looking to do is for people after your intervention to be more digitally upskilled, better connected, better prepared in terms of digital inclusion, to be able to engage with digital outside of that.
Will you flip up the last slide that says how to contact you, and I'll send you an email?
I'll drop the link in the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Pete?
Hiya. I think that based on like embedding digital into what we're already delivering, I think like our projects would work with that. We've already kind of tested some use of digital, and it's using tablets as part of what we're already doing, so that skills can be developed for outside. I was just wondering how it works in terms of like a project that's already been delivered, that we've got some funding towards. Like, would you do matched funding as part of that? If like digital skills was already built into the overall 3-year project, but we're already a year in, would we be able to kind of bid as part of that, or would this have to be something separate for the organisation as a whole?
Again,
I think that's a LCF question, isn't it?
it is. Would it be all right if you dropped us an email? Sorry, it's just that it'd be easier to kind of just read it, and then we can let you know whether that would be okay.
Absolutely.
It's project specific, so probably we need a little bit more time to look into it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll pop the email address for the grants inbox for us in the chat, and then yeah, if you're able to just email us, that'd be really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Deanne?
Hi there. What I want to ask is our project, it supports migrants and refugees, and also anybody that needs to upskill with their computer skills. So I just want to know if we have we have an additional service where we offer support for children that have come to the UK and they don't have access to education simply because they were actually waiting for a school. Would that be something that you'd actually fund? Because obviously when they actually do go into school, we support them with ESOL as well. So once they do go into school, they'll be ready to integrate into the educational system in the UK.
Amy, are you able to help? Sorry, I would just like to say that I'm not the program lead for this program. So my areas of expertise on this are not as clear cut. So sorry, Amy.
No, not at all. So I might have to revert to Jason on this one, because the thing that I picked up on there is supporting children with schooling. So 100% Digital Leeds sort of has more of an adult focused remit, but I can't recall from the eligibility whether we have specified adults for this fund, or whether we are open to, it might be a wider conversation. But I don't know, Jason, if you have a quick way to confirm yes or no to children, then you can pop that in the chat.
We actually support with digital skills for children and adults that come into the country. They may not be you know, they may not have good digital skills, so we kind of support them both. So obviously the children's side of it, we teach them English on the computer. The adults use ESOL, so it's kind of or anybody else that needs to upskill on digital skill.
That's just what I was going to say, Deanne. If there's a family element in the bid rather than it focusing very specifically on children, as Amy said, part of the reason that 100% Digital Leeds doesn't focus on children is the statutory services and support that's already in place for children. Once they're accessing education, there's often equipment in the schools and so on and so on. But if it was a bid that was focusing on family intervention, and then the adults are included in it, then it's much more likely. And I can see Amy's got a hand as well, so she might want to
I was just going to ask Dan, what organisation are you from?
Well, we're a new organisation called Community Ambition Kick. So we've only been sort of like operating for since March actually, but we do other things as well. But one of the elements that we focus on is the digital workshops and ESOL for the whole family basically.
Yeah, and you say that it'd be digital equipment that you'd be looking to purchase with the funding?
Yes, definitely, to support them.
And do you have a centre? Do you have a space that you work out of?
Not at the moment. This is the thing that we're trying to source at the moment, you know, space to do this activity, because obviously with Leeds City Council there's a lot of cutbacks, so we're not having the access that we would have had. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think, as Jason said, you know, the family element, if you're buying equipment, if you're buying it, you know, we wouldn't ever want to limit what that equipment was used for anyway. So once you've got some tablets or laptops or whatever, you know, we're not going to say children can't use that or anything. So it maybe just might be about focusing more on the benefits to adults, and then knowing that once you've got the equipment, there can be, you know, all sorts of things going on. But I'd be really interested for one of the team to talk to you a little bit more about your service, because there may be other opportunities that we can bring for you as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Tracy, I think you were next.
Hello. I just thought that I would just come in with a little bit of an idea that we've kind of been talking about. So I work in Bilal, in Bitmosgate, which is a community centre as part of the housing services for Bilal TMO. It's right in the middle of the estate and right in the centre of the community. And we have been developing our sort of digital kind of, support, etc., with people, which has been going really well. At the moment, we are reviewing our digital offer in regards to sort of finding out from tenants and from the community about what barriers that they've got and what kind of digital support that they need or that they want. We are at the moment developing what's called a voicescape survey. So it's a list of questions that are going to be kind of like sent out to tenants to be able to like respond to us, and starting off with that, having kind of questions that kind of come into knowing what kind of connection they've got, what kind of devices have they got, how would they access us, do they access hubs, etc., and those kind of questions. And following on from that, this is where the funding may be able to help. And I've never done a funding application before, so I'm completely new to all this sort of stuff. But in regards to working together with Three, which I have been sort of having a bit of support there from them. I know, Amy, you're aware of that. In regards to being able to have, seeing about having Wi-Fi kind of put into some of the homes in regards to sort of helping their connection. It might not be that straight away. It might kind of look like having sort of tablets if the back of the survey comes back that people aren't connected because of the cost of living, or because of them not having the devices, or not knowing what to do, or not being able to understand it, and all that kind of thing. But obviously I'm guessing that if it comes off the back of the survey, the results of that, we'd want to kind of get them in before before the deadline for the funding stops, if that makes sense. But kind of they're the sort of ideas that we're kind of thinking about, is that off the back of the survey we're able to kind of understand what people do need and continue having them conversations with them, but also be able to provide those homes with our tenants, etc., with a tablet, or perhaps like a plug and play Wi-Fi unit, or even further on down the line being able to kind of put an internet connection or something in there, working together obviously with Three as a partner. So I just literally wanted to kind of voice that out, and hopefully it made some kind of sense, and just to kind of see if that's something that I could have some help putting an application in for.
Yeah, I think so. The fact that you're surveying your residents is really good, because as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we're really wanting to support initiatives that respond directly to identified specific needs of the community support. So definitely also with the providing equipment or Wi-Fi to people in homes. I know that obviously you've got a lot of housing, so thinking about sustainability and everything, treating that as a sort of test and learn, and looking at what is the benefit to providing that equipment,
and what we thought with that as well,
in comparison to the cost. So you're sort of making a bit of a it's a test and learn pilot to think about if you're going to do it more widely. And the other thing could be, we could think about other ways to support people to access that connectivity, like supporting people to apply to social broadband social tariffs and things like that.
And I know that when I've been speaking with Three, they were kind of talking about their pilot as being like, it could just be one street, like just to sort of see how it works, how it supports, what it kind of does. It could just be starting off with like 20 homes out of the, obviously not all the 1,900 of them, absolutely, but being able to kind of work it out on like one street that may be kind of similar in sense of not being able to get access, etc., and starting off with those 20 homes, like you said, as a pilot, and then seeing how that kind of goes and what changes it makes, and into them being more digitally included, I suppose.
Definitely. We've also, it'd be good to talk to you, Tracy, outside this meeting, because there's another initiative that we might be able to support you with that has a similar sort of aim as well. So
perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks, Tracy. And I think James, I think you've got your hand up as well.
I was just wondering, so there's about 45 people on the call. How much money is available within this funding round? So I'm just thinking there's a lot of applications going to come in. Just wondering how much money is available. That might have been mentioned, so sorry if it has. I took a call in the middle of the.
No, don't worry at all. I'm trying to think off the top of my head how much it is. I can't remember, I apologise. Frantically looking now, but we have said in the criteria we expect to fund between 8 to 16 applications. So yeah, obviously it's not a huge amount, but yeah, we're just confirming numbers because we got the money comes through the Leeds Digital Ball.
Okay.
So that's how it's raised every year. And I'm not sure actually if we do have the final figure just in place yet. Oh, Amy, you might know.
I don't know the final figure, but what I'll say is that there's other, as I mentioned before, there's other opportunities coming up as well. So 100% Digital Leeds, not the people that advise, so not the people that are going to be advising the applications, but 100% Digital Leeds does sit on the panel. So as part of what we've done in other years as well, is where we haven't been able to fund applications through this fund, what we have been able to do is spot that that's a good application and where we might be able to help you access the resource from other funding pots or from other partnership opportunities or whatever. So I would say, obviously, you know, do get in touch with us for support around what your idea might be, and we'll let you know whether it's a good. We don't want to waste your time and say apply to this, just so we can get an idea of what you're looking for money for. At that point, we might filter you straight out and go, don't bother with this one, but there's this, this, and this. But also, if you apply and you're not successful, we will be, as part of the panel, looking at, okay, not for this fund, but let's get back in touch. We'd really like to you know, see this project happen or this piece of work happen, and we can signpost you to other opportunities.
Brilliant, thank you.
Fantastic. I think that might be all the questions, and I've just realised the time as well. We have supposed to finish a minute ago. So if anyone does have any more questions, please do drop either our email address, Grant's email, or 100% Digital Leeds. You will receive a recording of this as well, with the relevant slides. So yeah, please do get in touch if you're unsure about anything. Thank you so much today for turning up and listening to us. I hope you all have a lovely day.